Sunday night, August the 1st, 2024, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Sauga 960 AM, episode number 150. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media, follow the show at Ringside_Heat, and also all of our links to social media and a lot of goodies on our link tree. Just look up Linktree Ringside Heat on Google, and you'll find it there. And right beside me here, it's a one-on-one Ring Crew episodes. It is Jose Taboada, our director of digital content. You can follow him on all social media at Taboada93. Mr. Jose, hey, 150.
I know. Happy 150. Another milestone. I'm going to call it a milestone. You know, obviously maybe not as big of a fanfare as episode 100, but hey, you know what? We made it 150 episodes, so congrats to us. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny because I feel like I've established myself as the host of like live streams or digital content whenever I'm on, and when it comes to the actual show, that's when Lex takes over. So I appreciate the balance of the forces here. Boy, what a show we got for you today. 150 episodes in. Very, very fun pay-per-view yesterday. Of course, we're recording this yesterday, and so a couple hours ago, we still on the heels of an entertaining bash in Berlin.
Entertaining weekend of wrestling altogether, though.
Yeah,
too.
For sure. I know you got a lot of stuff to cover. The only thing that I saw was Bash in Berlin, and Europe once again shines like they always do, and this time it is in favor of Germany. So what a crowd, what a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great show in WWE, and also kudos as well to TNA Emergence and that show that happened on the Friday night. Two great wrestling pay-per-view, PLE, whatever your nomenclature is, and I'm going to say, and the reason why I say nomenclature because Cody Rhodes, and because we'll be talking about Cody Rhodes a little bit later too. But before we get into WWE Bash in Berlin, I want to just go through just the card of TNA Emergence and some shout outs over here. So first off, two pre-show matches. Frankie Kazarian defeated Kushida by pinfall. That match took about just under 10 minutes. PCO defeated Shera with Matt Cardona at ringside by pinfall and retaining the TNA Digital Media Championship and the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship. And then in the main card, Zachary Wentz is the new X Division champion as he defeated Mike Speedball Bailey, Hammerstone, Jason Hotch, Laredo Kid, and Riley Osborne in an Ultimate X match. Steve Macklin defeated Eric Young by pinfall, and Jordan Grace and Spitfire, Danny Luna and Jody Threat, Toronto girl Jody Threat, great talent over there, defeated Ash by Elegance, and the Militia, Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich with the personal concierge. Personal concierge is actually pretty cool because he's the guy that handled that handled the ticket stuff with TNA when they invited us over for the London and Toronto shows. So yeah, I thank you so much to the personal concierge because hey, I'm a fan for life. By pinfall in a 6 knockout tag match. ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay defeated First Class, AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. AJ Francis, aka Flop Dollar, according to Michael Cole.
Yes.
Tag match for the TNA World Tag Team Championship. So ABC is your tag team champions. The System, Moose Brian Myers, JDC, Eddie Edwards defeat Joe Hendry, Mike Santana, and the Hardys, Broken Matt and Brother Nero Jeff Hardy. I'll call him Brother Nero Jeff Hardy, but even though he's not technically Brother Nero in this situation. However, what was actually quite funny about this over here is that you had Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy come out with Joe Hendry, and Joe Hendry did a little entrance video mashup with the Hardys. So it's like, I believe in Joe Hendry, I believe in Matt Hardy, I believe in Jeff Hardy. And so it was actually quite fun to see the Hardys dance along with Joe Hendry that way.
It was kind of weird to see Joe Hendry spin in the middle of the Hardy Boys theme, like his regular spin.
Yes.
That he does to the camera. Yeah. Like I saw that from I think it was a crowd clip that I saw on social media in the middle, the dun 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 dun. Like I can't sing on YouTube. But just to see him spin to that, I'm like, that does not work at all. it was, but hey, you know what? I mean, collaborations are fun, but that was just like, oh no, go back to your theme, go back to your regular theme, please.
Right. Now, what would actually make it a good step up to the entrance video would be if Joe Hendry found a way to mash up his theme with the Hardys theme.
No, there's no way. No, you're more of a music guy than I am. I think even I myself know that those two themes can't really clash the way that they do. they're two polar opposites, I think.
Somehow, I think there's somebody. I think Joe Hendry's creative enough to make something work. I know that I know that I could hear something in my head. I don't know how. I'm not exactly sure how it'll play out, but I do hear something in my head. May not be great, but hey, Joe Hendry, I believe in him. And the main event of the evening was a 60-minute Iron match for the TNA World Championship, and it was Nick Nemeth defeating our hometown boy Josh Alexander 3-2 in that 60-minute match. And again, another phenomenal match from Josh Alexander and Nick Nemeth. Yes, okay, I will say one thing to criticize over here. I don't like, again, that whole storyline of sports entertainment versus pro wrestling, because that's how that's one of their backstories, that Josh was pro wrestling, Nick was sports entertainment because it comes from WWE, stuff like that. And I think it's honestly a tired thing, but the match itself, the way they told their story, and Josh Alexander and both of the men, both of these men doing a 60-minute Iron Man match, that's not easy by any means at all.
There's a reason why they're really rare to come by in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Like when was the last one that he can?
Oh, Josh Alexander's last one was TJP's a couple of years ago during the during the COVID lockdowns. So
there you go. It's 60 minutes is not. Oh yeah, that was 2021. Yeah, but still, regardless, I mean that's still a 3-year gap, longer than I think. I mean, maybe a little quote unquote shorter in time, but there's a reason why they don't come by often. I mean, as of late, it's been 30 minutes. Like the last WWE 60-minute one was on NXT in 2020, Super Tuesday. Finn Balor, right. Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and the 2-2-1-1.
Wow! Yeah. Yeah,
so,
and Josh Alexander again. Can't say enough great things about him, especially now that he's been, I guess, healthy for the past year after being away for so long as well. So I'm glad to see him. I'm sure Jade, who announced him, which is great. I mean, like, I love the fact that Jade, the ring announcer for TNA, is his wife, and getting to announce into the ring like that, it must be just an awesome thing for that couple and their family and everything. And I remember meeting the family last year at TNA Emergence. Actually, it was Jade's. Was it Jade's? Yeah, it was Jade's half of the family. I met at TNA at TNA Emergence last year at the what's that? Where Cabana Boulevard is. No,
I was gonna say Melody Rehearsal. I guess not. That's not the right name for. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's gonna bug me. Anyway,
yeah, it is. It's gonna be, but hey, great family, great wrestler, and great match. Congratulations to everybody in TNA wrestling for this. And one thing, and just before we go to break, one thing I'm looking forward to now is the restart of Maple Leaf Wrestling in MLPW, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Scott Moore and Mauro Ranallo is going to be the voice of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, which is a phenomenal get for Scott Moore and
treasured voice, and then some in Mauro Ranallo.
Mm-hmm. I have, and with Mauro Ranallo there, I have no chance. Ringside Heat on Sauga 960 AM. We're going to take a little break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about WWE Bash in Berlin and little things about that pay-per-view that made it such a good one and such an enjoyable experience on a Saturday afternoon here in Toronto, and of course Saturday night in Berlin, wherever you guys are, wherever you're listening from. We thank you for listening here on Sauga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and as well on YouTube. We'll be back after these promotional considerations. And by the way, this episode is brought to you by Outlier by John Dawson. Pick up the, listen to it on all of your music apps and get it on iTunes, buy it on iTunes, or you can buy the vinyl at johndawsonmusic.myshopify.com. 180 gram vinyl. We'll be back after these promotional considerations.
Rest assured, I will greet you
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM, Lex Tan at Lex Tan Media, and of course Jose Tabuada at Tabuada 93. And this is Ringside Heat. Follow us at Ringside_Heat. You like what we do? You want to support us with a little bit of a coffee? Please do so at ko-fi.com
fi.com
there you go
dash
ko
fi.com.
there you go ko-fi.com/ringside_heat. That's right.
Quick note before we get to Bash in Berlin. Rebel Entertainment Complex was the name of the venue for TNA Emergence last year in Toronto. Rebel Entertainment Complex, because I feel like that would have been bugging you throughout the show and maybe throughout the rest of the day. I'm not sure how deeply it would have bugged you, but just in case, to avoid to get to that level, let's get it out of the way now. Yes,
that would have bugged me too. It would have bugged me too.
Yeah, there you go.
But then again, that shows you how much of a clubber I was back in my day. So.
Yeah, I'm proud that I'm not. I also do not fit that vicinity of a lifestyle.
However,
I grew up just staying at home.
Mm-hmm. However, though, God willing and me willing, I'm going to be starting up a health regime with the help of with the help of a friend of one of the shows over here at Sauga 960 AM, the Radix Life Challenge. It's an 8-week challenge to get my health back in order and everything, and take down my fat, build up my muscle, and hopefully by next summer I'll be able to go to Cabana Pool Bar and actually and actually fit in there.
That's where this was going. I don't know what. That's a goal. That's a goal. Okay. Normally people just say, I just want to have a healthier lifestyle. I just want to feel confident. No, I need to be at that pool bar next year after these 8 weeks. All right, that's you. Okay, Bash in Berlin, folks. What a pay-per-view, Lex.
Very, very, very good pay-per-view. 5 matches, and it's great. It's one of these things that, like, these pay-per-views that are not part of the Big 4/Big 5. One thing that's really great about them is that they have focused matches. You have 5 matches in this particular card with lots of time to breathe for each of these 5 matches. The shortest match was the WWE Women's Tag match that clocked in at 12 minutes and 2 seconds, and the rest of them were all of these matches were in double digits because they had the time to breathe, tell the story, let the crowd simmer and just bask in the glory of WWE in their town in Europe, in Berlin.
Yeah, you could say it's an overglorified Raw in a sense because it's only 3 hours. It only went 3:14, 3:15, I think, around there. But
something like that, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, I was saying on the live stream yesterday that I think AEW can get away with having as many matches as they do on the card, as much as everybody loves to make fun of it, because they don't have pay-per-views on a consistent basis like WWE. I think it's a maximum of 6. WWE has, excluding NXT, 12 to 15, I think, because there's still some scattered in between, right? Or the 2-nighters, right? So it's like 5 matches is good for a company that does monthly pay-per-views. Like, that works.
Yes.
And again, I think everybody had a chance to shine and deliver in their matches. I didn't, for the most part, leave saying, well, this match kind of blowed. I think everybody had a solid performance.
Very exactly, and you saying that actually kind of reminded me of the back in the Ruthless Aggression era, when they actually did have this pay-per-view PLE schedule of 1 per month. You got the Raw 1 month, the SmackDown the next month, Raw, then SmackDown, and then they have a Super Show or whatever like that at the Big 4. And that was exhausting. It's also really expensive back in the day because they didn't have if you didn't subscribe to WWE 24/7, then you'd have to buy them monthly pay-per-views. But now it's
really,
yeah.
Wait. If you're subscribed to 24/7, you could get the pay-per-views monthly.
Or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember these.
If I remember correctly, 24/7 was like their WWE Network before the WWE Network. It was just because I was just like an on-demand channel. Like I know like we used to have like Rogers On Demand where you can just like go to like an app within like your cable provider and then you can get all the movies or shows and just watch them there. And I'm pretty sure that's what on WWE 24/7 was. I'm pretty sure that if 24/7 on demand got us all the pay-per-views, everybody would have done it. But no, we still had to pay for our monthly pay-per-views of $50 to $60 a month, and WrestleMania $70.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which is why I didn't watch pay-per-views growing up, because yeah, that's a lot for a kid who doesn't have a job and is still in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense.
Let's see. Okay, so it says here on the Wikipedia page, as you were saying, it is basically the precursor to the WWE Network, vast archive of wrestling footage. Always presented on digital cable. Let's see. So let me just go back down here. Previous buckets, Legends of Wrestling, extra material, video library. Yeah, you're right. It didn't show any of the pay-per-views. So
it didn't. No.
So either way, this. The way things are right now with the way that WWE is working is more conducive to monthly pay-per-views than it was back in the Ruthless Aggression era, where you had to pay $60, $70, $80 for a pay-per-view every single month.
Yeah. And the other thing too is one thing I appreciate about this again is that we're once again being selective on who's going on these shows. Mm-hmm. They know who's hot. They know who's trending. They know what stories are more intriguing instead of just throwing everybody on the card. Because let's not forget, it wasn't too long ago where we're still doing these monthly pay-per-views and we're still having 10 to 12 matches because we insisted on having a good portion of the roster on, which I understand paydays and everything, but you can tell that we're back in an era where we're going to have to value what drives and makes our content good, quality over quantity, that old trope that a lot of people say. So, and I obviously there's a better chance for everybody to get on a card for a big super show, as it should, because it's it's a big four. Yeah. And you could argue that this is where the Ruthless Aggression was kind of smart in having your Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views, because yeah, I remember I love those exclusive pay-per-views. You had a chance to showcase your entire roster in that short format. Again, you can have 5 or 6, 7 matches, but you're including more people on the roster, as opposed to now your Raw and SmackDown shows in which you limit, I think you only get 30% of that roster, maybe less.
Yeah.
But I understand that, fans in cities want to see, let's say, okay, if we're going back to Ruthless Aggression, let's say they want to see Triple H, right? They want to see Triple H at Judgment Day, but they can't because it's a SmackDown pay-per-view. So you get JBL and The Undertaker. What a complaint. But WWE comes to your city and you want to see these guys, but you can't because they're a Raw exclusive. They're a Raw brand. And it was really exclusive back in the day, right? So there's pros and cons to it. And I understand that I think one of the reasons why it failed in the new run is because you're literally doing 2 PLEs a month, a Raw pay-per-view and a SmackDown pay-per-view.
Oh my God, that was exhausting.
Right? It's way too much. Mm-hmm. And then the other flaw is that SmackDown has to wait 2 months to get a pay-per-view and showcase their talent on pay-per-view, right? Because Raw's up. Right, the Rumble comes and gone. Raw, it's a Raw pay-per-view, and then you go to WrestleMania, and then SmackDown can get one, and then back to Raw. Right, so pros and cons, and we could be talking about pros and cons for hours because I think this is a really good topic for another day because I have so much more to say. But it works today with what they're doing now. 5 matches a card is perfect, highlighting your best and trending superstars. That's not a knack at the other superstars that are now working their asses off. It's just social media is, you can say for at one point controlling the narrative, no pun intended. So
before we get into the card over here, it's one thing I remember during those days. It was WWE Judgment Day. It was The Undertaker defeating Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the Undisputed Championship, which led up to the King of the Ring, where The Rock interfered, and as a result, between I believe Kurt Angle and The Undertaker, and as a result, the triple threat at WWE Vengeance. Yeah, that was that was a lot of fun.
That Judgment Day also included Edge shaving Angle.
That's right.
That's when he went bald. That was the first WWE pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. The first pay-per-view that had the WWE branding, right?
Yes, that's right, because it was WWF Backlash still.
Backlash. Yeah. Wow. God, our memories are good.
But now for some recent memories over here.
Yes.
5 matches. Cody Rhodes started off. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens started off the pay-per-view, the PLE rather, for the Undisputed Championship. 23 minutes and 16 seconds. Cody Rhodes retains. And we'll talk about that later. But let's go into the next match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill defeating the Unholy Union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn by pinfall and capturing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, which was a surprising thing for both of us. We'll get into that later. CM Punk defeating Drew McIntyre by touching up Drew in the corner in that strap match. That's what it says on Wikipedia. Touching up Drew.
What?
Either I'm guessing this is Wikipedia graffiti, but either way, CM Punk got all 4 turnbuckles, won the strap match, 19 minutes and 15 seconds. The Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley defeated the Judgment Day, Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan by pinfall, and that match was 14 minutes and 20 seconds. I was thoroughly entertained by that one. We'll talk about that later. And Gunther defeating Randy Orton by technical submission, sleeper hold for to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And had Orton had won the championship, he would have been transferred to Raw, and Gunther would have been transferred to SmackDown. 34 minutes, 28 seconds. That was the stipulation for that match. So again, so high stakes in that particular matchup. Any particular match you want to start off here with, Jose?
Let's start off with let's I think we should go from the top. Great opener. Again, Cody, Kevin Owens really delivered. Again, I mean, straightforward. I mean, yes, these shows are predictable, but they do a good job of, kind of like going with the story within those matches. I mean, the leg injury that they, I guess, came up with last minute, and Kevin Owens is back and forth, and wanting to tackle the leg. I guess it cost him, but it was a good start, and I expected the pay-per-view to start off with something like that. I didn't think the other three. I think the other 3 matches were really good fillers, or more were to wait on as the night went on. So I think that made sense to open up with that championship. I guess not much. I mean, maybe this wasn't the one to start with, because again, it was straightforward. It did the job.
Yeah. And one thing I will say about this match is that yes, face versus face matchups are can be a bit unfamiliar territory in some sort of ways, but at the same time, I love the fact that the conflict came from 2 guys wanting to fight for the championship. Yes, they're both faces, technically speaking, but they're 2 guys who are fueled by their desire to win the championship, and that's where you can see that Kevin Owens wanted to be ruthless at some points, and in the end did not. He was also dejected when he lost the matchup to Cody, but then still was able to gather within himself that face within himself, and give him that hug, raise his arm, and even he didn't even allow Cody to raise his own arm when Cody offered. So and that was I liked how that turned out in terms of character story.
It's again straightforward. It's expected when it comes to face-to-face matchups. Again, another rare occurrence in wrestling. Obviously, this doesn't need to go any further because Solo's on the horizon, and unless Roman gets involved in some shape or form, Bad Blood, they have 2 options they could go with. Obviously, they don't want to try to keep pushing Solo, unfortunately. So we'll see where that goes, but this did the job. This wasn't supposed to be a company altering decision, which I know because if it was, obviously would have sold the show, and nothing after that would have even mattered. Yeah. So it did its job. I'm happy that Kevin Owens continued to have his opportunity. Obviously, a lack of a world title since 2017 is criminal.
For that dude, yes.
But he's also had a lot of fun programs since then, and which includes a WrestleMania main event. So I think he'll be fine. Kevin Owens will be fine.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this is something that is very well deserved for Kevin Owens here, especially like when his previous contract was up and it was all up in the air, and he ended up saying, you know what, I'm sticking with WWE. I'm not going to go over to the other side or anything like that.
It's the right call for him.
Yeah.
I think, again, not that AEW wouldn't have treated him well. I'm sure it would have. But
he would have been good over there.
His style. That I know he has a strong indie career, but his style definitely fits WWE. He's definitely he's wanted this, so
definitely
I say carry on.
And so we shall, with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeating the Unholy Union. This is a surprise for me personally because
same because oh sorry, Lex, go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to be saying the same thing over here. Is that I was thinking that Bianca and Jade would get the loss, so that the NXT graduates, the more recent NXT graduates, I guess you'd say, would get that push. Plus, it would also be fuel to the fire for the breakup of Bianca and Jade and having their own segment and their own program.
That's where I was going to allude to. Yeah, it's I don't see why you dethrone the Unholy Union. Yeah, Union. I said Alliance on the stream, and I wasn't sure which one it was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or Chico confused me. I'm blaming Chico. It's I think they could have kept going, because I think you need that intriguing. They were intriguing champions. I'm not saying they were some of the best women's tag champs of all time.
They could have built it.
They could have, and I didn't see why they didn't. But is what it is. And as for Jade, she is proven in the past with AEW, and it's funny that I bring up AEW because she kind of went after some reporters during the press conferences to please stop asking her about AEW questions, which, by the way, very fair. Yes. But it's time for her to show the solo run. I mean, yes, I think it's all kind of clear that she was partnered up with Bianca, with Naomi, because they want to get her feet wet. Right, in WWE. I mean, her Rumble appearance in January, which now seems ages ago. It's, she showed that she can be that strong solo dominant self. So I'm ready to see it. I thought that I think while the show was great, I think if you want to add a little bit of spice, that was your spice in letting a heel turn happen most likely for Jade. I don't think Bianca would ever turn heel again in WWE, to be honest, but. Let Jade shine. It's time for her to prove that she can do it on her own. I think she definitely can. And then maybe the tag titles are used to stir up a turn. I don't know, but a little bit disappointed because I did pick. I was liking Alba and Isla, Alba and Isla. But for now, we wait and see what happens.
Yeah, and there's no reason they couldn't get it back in the future sometime and have their own run again. But I mean, they've been doing some good work, and I think that there's more for them in the future. But we're gonna get into the rest of the card in a sec. We got CM Punk and Drew to talk about. We got the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day, as well as Gunther and Randy Orton to talk about. But we will need to go to a break here and let you know that this episode of Ringside Heat, yet again, is brought to you by Outlier by John Dawson. You can get the album on iTunes. You can stream it off your favorite music apps, as well as buying and listening to the 180-gram vinyl that you can purchase off of johndawsonmusic.myshopify.com. And it is a really, really great album, a really great, easy listening album for you. So shout out to John who put this album together, and also put together our theme music as well. We will take the break now, and we'll be back after these promotional considerations.
When the daylight's done, with me you're not so all alone. With me you're not so. Rest assured, I will greet you.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube. My name is Lex Tan. Follow me at Lex Tan Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat. And of course, you must also follow the man beside me on the screen, Jose Tabuada, Director of Digital Content for Ringside Heat at Tabuada93. great pay-per-view here. Nice PLE here. 5 matches that WWE offered us at Bash in Berlin. And before we get into the rest of the matches, that crowd in Germany again. And the night before, and a couple of nights before in Belgium at Brussels, these European crowds just bring it and bring their energy, and it just makes that atmosphere, that wrestling atmosphere that WWE is bringing to them, and bringing to us via our television sets, just all the more epic and all the more fun to watch and to be a part of. And again, what can so much respect for the German crowd there that really made that atmosphere pop the way it did.
Yeah, we've said that throughout the show. We said it yesterday. They know how to shine, and I'm curious if for next year they'll rotate the countries and maybe pick different places, or they kind of go to the same countries. But I wouldn't be opposed to another Germany show, 100%. I'm okay with making that more frequent than most.
Mm-hmm. And was it? And the last time they had Bash in Berlin was when was the last time they had a Bash in Berlin?
Never did. This was the first.
Oh, that's right. This was the first.
This was first. This
Clash
was
at the Castle. I was thinking of. Clash at the Castle.
This was Germany's first ever PLE pay-per-view. But before this weekend, their last televised show was a Monday Night Raw.
Right.
So this is a long time coming for Germany, and it feels like WWE's kind of just kind of saying, well, yeah, we owe some places, some events.
Yeah, but hey, they owe Canada, and Canada is you know what I said? They owe Canada.
I got it.
But you'll be in Vancouver. Hopefully, you'll get to go to Survivor Series and just enjoy the atmosphere. I'm sure that's going to be fun.
Canada's been spoiled. Money in the Bank was one thing. Survivor Series is a completely different thing, and Vancouver getting this it's funny because we're so used to Toronto getting shows, and so Canada getting shows, I should say, is like Raw and SmackDown are going to be in Calgary and Edmonton next week or the week after, and it seems so frequent, but then when you realize that it's a pay-per-view and it's Vancouver that hasn't had a show since '98, it's like, oh, this is actually kind of significant. But we said this a fair amount of times. I know we're going to bring it up again as we get closer to the date, and as I apparently give out my travel details and see what the plan is. The last Raw. I remember we said this on the show before, but I remember one of the previous times they had Raw was all the way back in 2002, and I missed that one. Wanted to go to the SmackDown, but that was 3 hours away in it was in the mainland. So in the upper mid. Yeah. So it would have not been practical for me to go to drive 3 hours to wherever that show was in. Understandable.
But what was a very practical show was CM Punk, Bash in Berlin. We continue that one here. CM Punk defeating Drew McIntyre, touching the 4 corners of the ring to defeat him, and a strap match that's 19 minutes and 15 seconds, and CM Punk got his bracelet back.
It's like an unofficial title at this rate. That was entertaining. I was confused at the rules at first.
Yeah,
but it made sense as the match went on. I can't believe that somehow, installing the lights was not thought of a while back, because they used, like, when CM Punk last had his strap match or a strap match was against Sauga. I think it was an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Right. They used a graphic. Right. And so, they lit up a graphic. Okay. Green light. And then the last green light. I can't believe that made so much sense. And obviously you see the ring post and you see the LED boards and you're going, well, okay, somebody's about to break the ring. And turns out it was for that. So it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. Entertaining match. Again, I love seeing matches that I realize that I don't see on a regular basis, and this was definitely one of them. And again, like I think they delivered on the gruesome, and I know it's probably going to get worse because it's technically a 1-1 series, if you want to call it a series. They're going to have a rubber match, and I presume it's going to be bad blood in October.
I would love to see 3 stages of hell between those three. Between those two.
I don't. Damn it, that's a good one. I would say put them in the cell. Because I think and I think and I know I said this in past weeks, it's time to restore what the Hell in a Cell was originally for, and that is to finish rivalries. It kind of happened at WrestleMania 39 with Edge and Finn Balor. Like the rivalry is reached its peak. Put them in a cell, which ends up being the first cell match at WrestleMania since 32, only the fourth in its existence, I should say. Excuse me. And so I think Punk and McIntyre, when you compare it to Balor and Edge somehow, this is a more deserving rivalry to put inside the cell. If it happens, we'll see, but that's definitely what I want to see. I think a lot of people would love to see that because it's what the Hell in a Cell was meant to be. To tell two guys who won't stop bickering, who won't stop fighting, to say, enough. What happens here is what happens here. That's it. But again, a gruesome match between them with the strap. The strap was effectively used.
Oh, very much so.
And I love this. I love the hindrance that it could cause. Like, for example, when McIntyre threw Punk over the top rope.
Yes, and then you had to like
cable, and then in a kayfabe, you're like, that's a stupid idea because now you have to you have to lift Punk over the top rope.
Yep.
Because you can't pull it, right? Because you can't. You're tied to each other. So
yeah, 200 pounds of quote unquote dead weight.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, yes, because you have to sell the table spot. So yes, it was dead weight.
Yeah,
but it's just small tidbits like that. I'm like, dumb. So I like the match. I'm very happy, and I expected Punk to get the second win. Again, just to even it up. And the bracelet, the Almighty bracelet. So good on Punk. Good on the match.
Yeah. And one of the fun but confusing things that happened in that matchup was when Drew was holding Punk and then touching the four corners. Punk snuck his hand in and touched the corner as well too. And that's the thing. Like, I would have thought that it would have reset, but that
entirely, but
the entirely thing, yeah.
No, but I guess,
and maybe that was a botch on the technical by the tech.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think I don't know, because my original thought was, okay, let's say you, Lex, you're touching 1-2, right? But then if I touch a corner, right, then your 2 are gone because I touched the corner, right? That's what maybe I thought, but it's in hindsight, it's like what's if we're both touching a corner first, it makes sense, right? Then from there, it's a quick race. It's a quick race to the finish.
Okay, yeah, so I can see it that way. Yeah.
So, but again, like the subtleties about this match, I'm like, okay, how can you get creative with this? That was hilarious. Because the crowd's freaking out. I'm like, why is the crowd freaking out? Drew just touched it. Like, who cares? And then I see the second camera pan. Punk's like, ha! And I'm like, brilliant, smart. That makes sense.
And just natural humor in a wrestling match. Funny. It was beautiful.
But that again, like I for a match I don't see on a regular basis. And again, you ask, how do you get creative? That was perfect. So and I did love the touching callback, if you want to call it a parallel, that when Punk won his match against Umaga, he hit to go to sleep and then touched his last corner. Punk did that here. Only did an extra 3 times, or I don't know how many times he did against Umaga. But again, just before the last corner, the last go to sleep, and then get the corner. Boy, was that crowd into it. Again, the crowd. Yeah. I know we're gonna bring up the crowd in the last match, but no, I liked it. Very innovative match.
And entertained as I was by that, I was also very, very much entertained by the Terror Twins in the Judgment Day and the way that all worked out, because and I mentioned this in the live stream yesterday, that yes, it is one of those soap opera-y kind of romance kind of things between Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, but they did this well, and they made this make sense. They made this actually they hit the emotional beats. They actually had that and they had that reckoning between Dom and Rhea in the middle of the ring as well. And everything, and it's humorous. It's almost, it's a little cliche, but it all made sense, and they all made it work. And that's and that's something that I commend all four of these performers with, especially with Dom, because we've been hearing from Shawn Michaels that Dom is is such a good worker, and he's has got some great talent, and it's almost he flew under the radar in that sort of way, but now that we see everything start to build, Dom's really proving his salt.
I don't want to say that Dom, for me, I don't want to say that he's been going under the radar, because again, he started off with his dad. I don't know if it's much going under the radar. It's just, I think he was limited because he was affiliated with his dad, right?
Mm-hmm. He
couldn't do much, which is fine, because because that is what I think from that perspective, teaming up with your father and working with your father and trusting in your dad, I think that's where Dom sold that really well, or executed that really well, if you want to say it. It worked for what he did. The problem was, and maybe this is where your quote unquote under the radar sense comes in the sense that that's all he could do. Weren't going to be. He was never going to be able to overshadow his dad naturally, naturally, because it's Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was literally always in a shadow. Right?
Oh yeah. Or he was in the shadow of his father.
Thank you. So you had to force that flip. You had to force. You had to say, okay, you know what, guys? We think that there's something with Dominic, but we're gonna have to do something drastic, and it's up to Dominic to take it home. And he did. He obviously did, right? But it was never gonna. There was a ceiling hit quick for Dom with his dad,
right,
which is fine.
And so it should be.
He was testing the waters. He is learning the ropes. No pun intended. Of WWE. There was no NXT run. It was a quick straight jump, right? So yes, he's limited because he's learning, and obviously the plan was, okay, we need to get him out of his dad's shadow. We need him to be his own individual, and here he is.
Right.
It worked out. I do wish that Dom and Liv won this match, though.
Yes, I would agree in that sort of sense, but I also did enjoy the fact that the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, this is something that they're really enjoying right now, just being the tag team on their own, because they said in the press conference later on that this is something that they've wanted to work together for such a long time, and they got their chance with the Judgment Day with Edge, of course not saying his name, but now that they're actually a duo together, and they're having a lot of fun. You can see how much they're having fun in this match. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So again, an entertaining match on the whole here. But let's before we have to go and before we have to say goodbye, we need to say hello to Gunther defeating Randy Orton, retaining the World Heavyweight Championship, and wow. Yeah, that again, it was another very entertaining match. We had a lot of good moments and a lot of great rhythm, but there's also some slow parts as well, I would have to say.
Yeah, I think the match dragged on a little bit. I think with the steps and the tables and setting that up, I think it's slowed down for sure. So that I was kind of there. You can see me on the stream trying to line down and be like, kind of my face kind of said, "Okay, let's go home." Let's go home. Not because because we all had to go, but it's just we know that Gunther at some point is gonna take care of this somehow, and he did. Wade Barrett and the German commentators dancing together was one of the best sights I've ever seen.
Yes. In my life. Bad news was good news in that sense.
That was beautiful. I mean, the whole 5 minutes serenade, if you want to call it. Yeah. Oh man! Again, Germany gave France a run for their money in that whole thing, because my goodness, they were just—it's just so good, so good. You're never gonna hear Canadians sing Celine Dion for WWE superstars in a match ever. So this worked, and again, like the fans are so into it. 'cause I'm your lady and you are my man.
Nerve comes to nerve.
So I like the commentators dancing, everybody having fun. That's what this is all about. That's why WWE goes to these events. And again, you know, for fans to say, "Oh, Europe crowds are always better. The US sucks," it's because the US gets. I've said this. The US gets it on a regular basis. We are spoiled here to see this on a regular basis within our continent. They're not. So obviously, when they're gonna get it, they're gonna make it count, and they obviously did. And what a great match for that. Kaiser, phenomenal with his entrance again. If he never made it out as a wrestler, ring announcing is definitely his fallback, although he's never going to hit that fallback for sure because he's great on his own. And Gunther just, you know, shut up being the dominant champion that he was. Again, expected finish. I was kind of hoping it was going to power bomb to end the match. Instead, it was the sleeper and Orange, you know, lights out. So that surprised me, but I'm like, oh, I guess I should have went for that. I mean, that makes sense. That's how he's been finishing his opponents.
Yeah, and it's as Gunther is more of I guess the wrestler, like just more of that technical wrestler kind of thing. It makes sense for him to take out Randy Orton with a sleeper, and it surprised me because it's not a finish that I expect these days, just because sleeper holds as a submission for a finish doesn't happen all the time anymore, not like it did back like in the in the days where, you know, I don't know who Honky Tonk Man would, like, you know, put someone in a sleeper, 1 2 3 ding ding ding, right?
Or even a traditional Hogan, you know, the arm drops 2, and then, you know, the third not going to now because it's time to Hulk up, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm preferring these straight up. You know what? Don't even bother. He's clearly out.
Yes,
he's dead. But yeah, I just wish it was a little quicker, just a little bit. I didn't think it merited a half hour, but again, Gunther's home, and I still wonder if the decision, if they should have instead pulled the trigger for Gunther to win it at home. But I know they wanted to avoid the face pop, so I think I stood corrected when I say I think the right call was to win it at SummerSlam, so he can walk out dominant. So he can walk into Germany dominant and confident, and leaves Germany the same damn feeling. So good call. I think this for me solidified that SummerSlam was the right time to give him the title instead of waiting for the last night.
And now that's our look at the 5 matches that WWE presented to us at Bash in Berlin. But we also want to know what you think. If you have something to say, make sure you do reach out to us at Ringside_Heat on all of our social media platforms. And hey, you know what? Leave a comment in this in the YouTube video when it comes out. Or you can DM any of us, including myself at Lextan Media. I don't know if you want to DM at Tabata93. That's all up to Jose, whatever like that. But hey, you can DM me. It's all good with me.
I'm around.
Yes.
I'm around.
I didn't want to speak for you. That's all.
Thanks. I'm around. Take that as you will.
And yes, we did mention that we wanted to get to the McMahon documentary that's being announced to be released later this month, but we're out of time here on the radio. We might actually put it up, do a little segment and do a little bonus thing for on Spotify.
I want to quickly say before we go, if you don't mind, Lex, yes, we want to give that justice because yes, number one, we still know it's a sensitive topic. There's again, it's not that we haven't been avoiding. I think we want to find the right time for that. Second of all, this is going to be a very important documentary, and I think it deserves a separate content video to explain our thoughts, or maybe an episode in the coming weeks. But yes, we do want to. We need to talk about it at some point.
We do.
We need to.
And before we go, I just want to say that Cody Rhodes at the press conference handled questions about the documentary, and he even was asked about the victim Janelle Grant. I have my thoughts about what the media should have done in that moment, but I will say that Cody Rhodes handled the situation like an utter champ, and it is great that we have Cody Rhodes as the face of the WWE right now, because he can do that.
Journalism is journalism. It's, these scrums, it can't be all fun and games all the time. That's the society that we live in. News is news. So Do I like that the question was asked? No, but in a sense, I kind of respect it because yes, you want to hear what they have to say about it because they can't be, not that they need to call them out, but it's like they're also not ignorant to it. But with that being said, he's such a pro. That handled really, really well. I want to explain. I would elaborate more on my thoughts there, but journalism is journalism. I understand why that journalist had to ask the question.
Yes, and we'll talk about that more in the coming weeks because it is going to be premiering later this month on Netflix. But we do have to say goodbye, at least for this week. Thank you for joining us for episode number 150 on Sauga 960 on our Spotify and your favorite podcatcher, as well as on YouTube. That's Jose. I'm Lex. This is Ringside Heat. We remember the things that you probably forgot. Bye, everybody.